Yes, this is for HR risk. Okay, let's begin. So, welcome everyone. However, on the live Zoom, there are only one member. We are also streaming it on the other platform too. So, let them join here. And now, so this is the session especially on the risk management into the human resources. When we consider at the human resources or the businesses are the human operation, so that's why it is important for the industries to managing the potential risk about the human resources. When it is come to the resources, so it means first come about the human resource professional. So there it is most importantly to what are the potential risks behind the human resources, how you can identify them, and then next what are the solutions for those risks too. So for that, today we have been invited one of the renowned human resource professional, Mr. Edwin E. Joel, who is the senior manager people development into the one of the technology-based organization, and he's the speaker for this today's discussion on the human resource management. So before I welcome Edwin E. Joel here for this discussion today, and I want to share with you something about especially the platform of the people manager, who we are and how we have been moving further with the developing the empower the 100 million HR professional by 2040. So this is our objective, and so that's why we are conducting these sessions on the weekly basis to bring or empower the HR professional from the different perspective. So here, let me just share the presentation with you just for quickly for 5 minutes. Then after we are jumping and rightly welcoming to the Edwin Joel for this discussion today. So when it is come as part of the human resources, and secondly, it is the most important that the human resource is the one of most important resource for the organization. But now there may be the potential risk which you have to deal with if it is not being dealt properly. So what would happen there? So there are some potential risk and you can lose your business. So that's why this today's session we have been organized for the human resource management and how you can identify the potential risk for your organization and how you can safeguard your organization's most valuable asset. One, it is potentially the human resources, because without people the businesses cannot be exist. So there, when we move further with the theme of the art of possible design for the unconventional, when we think on this, so our mission where we are empowering the 100 million professional HR professional globally by 2040. So this we make it as an the aligned to bringing and empowering the HR professional, what have the circumstances we have been faced in the last 3 years post pandemic. So here a little bit about the Edwin Joel, who is the senior manager people development in Anubhav Technology Private Limited. He is one of the influential HR leader, and he has have been many session into different platforms. He is also many awards winner speaker. So that's why he is the influential HR thought leader. When it has come to as part of the the risk management, where we are exploring around the different verticals, the potential risk, their solutions, how you can design and roadmap for the excellency into the HR. So that's why the potential risk you have to be identified, then you have to create your plan strategies around that, and you have to be actively involvement into these strategies. So when it is come to as part of the broadly the picture you may design into your organization, what can be the human resource risks are there? when we talk about the human resource, the risk management. So first of all, we have to identify the areas where the potential risk is possible into the organization. When we saw the broadly, so it is started with your critical skills which is required for the businesses into your organization success of your business. Then second, it is the businesses are also the role or the function of the human beings. So there you have also to the potential risk for the behavior and ethics into your organization. Then there are also the violation or the loss of your intellectual property, because the organization have their patent, organization have their own brand image, organization have their own product, the brandings also, the patents also. So that also the potential risk through the people. So that's why as in the HR, it is your role to safeguard your organization from these potential risk and create your plan further and strategy for the next release. So then it is about the manning organization where the risks are. It is a broader perspective where the organization, they are one organization is going to acquire the another organization. There are the merger of the many organization into one. So there are the many types of the risks are involved, because you are moving the multiple resources from one place to another place, especially where we're focusing on the human resources. Then the fifth one, that is the regulation and compliances, because when you start a business, so there it is most potential you have to comply with the regulation. When broadly we draw all these potential risks, so then we can see multiple area into your human resources. It is started when you are starting a business, so there the regulation you have to comply with. You have to go for the recruitment, talent acquisition. You have to go for the onboarding of those people. When you have been hired and you have been acquired them, so it is the start, either it is the physical or it is the virtual also. So there are the potential risks too. Then you have to retain those people into your organization. So that is also one of the potential risks. Then you are paying to them, where in there are the many cases happen recent. One case happened where 30 lakh rupees was mismanaged by one of the HR professional due to the compensation management, the salary processing. There are the fraud, name, accounts was incurred, and then the money was transferred to those accounts. So then the retention of the people, there are also the risk. If you have not the proper strategies, the roadmap you have not designed, so it is not possible for you to retain the high potential people into your organization. Then your learning and development, which is one of the key essential for your organization, the skill building, reskilling, upskilling. Then there are the multiple types of the discrimination as there. If you are not identifying those risks that you have to be, or your organization would have to face some certain circumstances where there may be the possible loss of the businesses too. Then your employee engagement, change management, cyber security is also one of the potential risks for your organization. Ethics are there, merger acquisition, as I've said in the broader perspective. Then your recruitment processes. If your recruitment processes are not foolproof, so in the next step, what would be happen? Your recruitment would not be good. You cannot identify, find, and deploy the right kind of people for your organization. Then your employee data, which is the most important part for your organization, so that is also the ethical risk would be there. The data breaching would also be there. Your working hours, where the regulations are there, you have to comply with the working hours. Disciplinary action, there are also the potential risk into. Then the employee unrest and the employee at the wills, and occupational safety and health. These are the potential the areas of your human resources where the potential risk can be incurred. So then next it come about the how we can where we thought about the now the risk you have been identified. Next it come about the how you are going to be managed. When we draw in a roadmap or a single line, so it come about the human resource risk management is to you are focusing on the some preventive actions, where you are identifying some areas, you are analyzing based on the data would play a crucial role into especially to creating your plan for the next. Then your HR risk management, that is also specially addressing your issues where are the inadequate employee management you have been into organization. Then your the inappropriate behavior of your people into organization, that is the way how you can manage your human resource management. However, we have invited Mr. Edwin Ejoel, and we are going to clarify all those queries of yours also. So before inviting to the Edwin Ejoel for this today's discussion and session, so here how we are being developed this concept for empowering the 100 million human professional by 2040. So there we have been created one roadmap to the successful human resource leader for the future, where we have been designed the two platform. One is the People Manager HR magazine, which are provided you with the multiple these resources for upgrading yourself and becoming the leader. Second, we have the another entity, that is the People Manager Academy. So how we are empowering, what is our mission? These 100 million people by 2040. So we are organizing the regular weekly basis events. Similarly, it is happening today. So then we have the conferences also. We have been annually we are in organizing four conferences for the HR professional, which we have been already held into the March 31st. Then after there, the June Engage conference, the employee engagement conference, especially the People Manager Engage conference, we are going to conduct on the June last Sunday. Then October L&D and Tech conference would be there. Then December last Sunday, that would be the big HR, IR and the Tech conference. And then in March again, the Tech and Talent conference would be there. Courses, we have around the 30 plus courses into our the People Manager Academy. Then we have been the magazine weekly and monthly basis. Then we have also now introducing one of the new program, that is the mentorship program for the 6 month, where we are developing the specially HR professional to the senior level position and the human resource leader level role. And then we have been also introduced the People Manager Human Awards Resource Awards for the 2024, where the 5 categories we have been announced. We are identifying the 100 influential HR leader for 2024 whom we are going to reward. Then there are the top HR leader of the year, then 50 then there are also the CHRO of the year, and further the lifetime achievements too. How we are moving further with these especially engaging the people and empowering them. So there we have the multiple platform who has been done their the accomplishment in their HR career, but they does not get any proper the platform. So we are, as and the People Manager, are bringing you to the globe with this People Manager the platform, where we have as of now the 35,000 plus HR professionals in the community. And then the secondly, we are empowering through you the learning, as one example, where we have been done one conference into the March 31st, that was the virtual conference of Tech and Talent, which I have been shared. The three more conferences are coming into this 2024, where we have been invited, and the top level of the Indian HR professional thought leader was there, who has been draw the future preparation of the human resource professional. Majorly when we are empowering the HR professional, there we are focusing on how through the human resources you can build up the business growth, the future of tech, how it is leveraging your capability to enhance and helping the organization and their businesses. Then what are the tech into the HR that is creating the impact and further preparing you for the velocity into the shift which we have been seen during the pandemic. Then there we have been announced the awards for 2044, as I've been shared already. Then the mentorship program is also there, where we are focusing on your the real time of the challenges through the radar system, where we are focusing on the micro level assessment for your organization with the understanding of your activities by yourself also. Then we are guiding and mentoring you, where we will invite you to also manage senior professionals. So then how we are going to empowering that, it is with part of the membership also. So there we have the three level of membership: 1 year, 5 year and the lifetime member. So however the detail may have been shared with all of you who has been attended, who has been registered for this today's session. So now let's move to the what is the session theme today: the HR risk management roadmap to the safeguarding your organization's most valuable asset. So now I'm welcoming Edwin E. Joel here for this conversation, and he is the expert into the HR risk management. So some queries which we have been called from the community, we will discuss it here. When at the end there will be 10 minutes, and we have been kept that for the open questioning, where we will ask the participant questions and we will get the solution with Edwin for those questions too. So now I welcome here Mr. Edwin. Now the all this session is up to you. What are your the accomplishments so far? Just a brief about your within the 1 and 2 minutes. Then we are moving to the discussion.
Sure.
Yes, please.
Thanks for the intro and for the wonderful opportunity.
Thank
I think,
you so
sir, you can ping me across where I am there on a video so that
Okay,
it captures it across. So you can ping me, so every video will have me pinged up, so that's perfectly fine. So thanks for this wonderful opportunity. So I'm coming up with around 14 plus years of experience. into various industries. Currently,
Yes.
I'm with Anubhavam Technologies as a senior manager, people development. I've done my lead auditor course in occupational health and safety, information security, privacy information management system, and business continuity management system. So, thanks for this invite and looking forward to the discussion
Yes,
for the HR
definitely.
risk management.
Yes, yes. Now, wait, I have been shared with you, so broadly there are the five broad area where the risk could be. Then there I have been shared around the 50 number of the other areas where the possibility of the potential risks are there. So now, first it come to because it is most important, very crucial for the organization to identify the potential risk. So, what is your eyesight, as in the expert opinion? That is the HR risk and why the HR risk management is important for every organization.
Okay, and so this would become a part of the strategic HR management team because it will have HR risk will encompass various factors. It can be like your legal compliance, then your employee well-being, then your reputational damage. So effective management will ensure organization stability, then legal compliance and protection of organization's reputation. So examples would be like non-compliance, legal liabilities due to non-compliance, then employee turnover affecting productivity, reputational damage with regard to ethical misconduct. So solution to this is like how we involve ourselves and proactively identify issues, mitigations, and continuous monitoring of these risks.
Definitely. So when we saw that it is about the identification, number one, and then secondly, as I the some of the area I have been identified was as an the expert. So what are the key HR risk areas and some examples and solution kindly draw here.
Okay, so this will become part of the risk identification. So how we can do is we need to look at like few of the modularities from your example. I can take here is the legal compliance, then employee relations, then talent management, then workplace safety. So the solutioning to that will involve like proactive policies, training programs, and then regular audits. So legal compliances will include like violation of your labor laws, employee relation and risk will involve like conflicts or grievance management. Talent management risk will involve like skill gap or succession planning or any PIP programs which is not being facilitated out. Then in workplace safety risk include your accidents and hazards.
Definitely. So when it is come to that the different types of the risks are there, it is especially potential of the losses of employee, your data protections, and there are also your privacy of the human resources data into organization. So when we consider into the next level, there we have especially the potential of the employee data management related. So what are the employee data management related risk are the possible risks are there into the organization and what are the examples of it.
Okay, so every organization has shifted to a digital HR platform. So this employee data becomes part of your employee self-service portal. So risk would involve like employee data management will include like data breaches, unauthorized access, non-compliance with data protection regulations. So solutioning to that would include a proper, robust data security measures in place, access control restrictions, and then compliance audit.
Yes,
So
how they
examples
all
is like
yes please.
examples when you take at data breaches, it will lose at co- sensitive information. Like for example, every organization has its own competitive advantage from the various data. So each role has different data allocation. So for example, as a HR, I'll have a lot of data which is available to me, like the employer data, their marital status, their bank records, their health conditioning, everything is there with me. So if I use that or misuse that information or I sell those information, becomes it becomes a data breach and data confidentiality is lost. And if I give that information to any other competitor, it's a win situation for the competitor because you get a large engaging and highly potential individuals which are a company's asset. So protection to that would be like using encryptions, then access control, and regular data privacy training programs for everyone in the organization.
Definitely. So when let's come to the second line of especially understanding about the perspective about the human resource, the potential data breaches into the organization. So there it come to the next stage also. Like there are some ethics at the ground of the ethics into the organization. So what are the potential risks are there?
So ethics will coincide with the organization's culture perspective. So ethical related is could be like fraud, then conflict of interest, then unethical behavior will damage the organization's reputation or culture. So I can give best example is when people are going and representing the organization in any workshops or in any public events, that individual is representing not himself or herself but the organization. So how he projects himself makes the people understand what is the culture being followed in the organization. So solution would be like a strong ethical culture, transparency. The core values of the organization has to have a provision for ethical conduct, then whistleblowing mechanisms and ethical training programs. So examples I can give is fraudulent activities like any data misrepresentation or anything from the employee side, then conflict of interest wherein there is a issue with the decision making, would should be in the professional front or it should be in a personal front, so that becomes a challenge during a conflict of interest. Then unethical behavior will damage the organization's reputation. The solution to that is every organization having its own code of conduct, then different policies and procedures in place. Then we need to also ensure we are conducting orientation programs to this policies and frameworks, then conducting proper ethical training programs, then implementing whistleblower policies. Now, organizations have also started implementing whistleblower policies in order to safeguard the person who is ensuring this kind of ethical concerns are being addressed in an organization.
Definitely. So, as the another part, when we have the potential risks are there in ethics too. So, secondly, it come about the there are the like the development and learning are there, which is the most crucial for the organization. And there, it is also most important that upskilling, reskilling, the learning and development required. When you are hiring or any organization, they are hiring the employee outside, but when they have to develop them according to their organization need, the skills especially as well as their culture specific. So there the what are the potential risks are there, the development and the learning perspective.
Okay, so this would become a major chunk into talent management, the development and learning related risk. And we are looking at talent retention and talent upskilling initiative. So how we can go about is like every individual who is going to be onboarded into the organization would be assessed on three things. That is K, S, and A. K is your knowledge, S is your skills, and A is your attitude. Skills and knowledge can be imparted, but the attitude remains a challenge because if he is fitting into the culture of the organization, this knowledge and skill training can be embedded and then his upskilling can done. So in that perspective, the risk relating to development and learning would include like skill gap, then lack of proper training opportunities, then are we imparting a training program or training materials which are outdated. Then solutions to would be like continuous learning, skill assessment, and personalized development plans. So examples, I would say like skill gaps will impact productivity issues. So lack of training opportunities would lead to employee dissatisfaction, and outdated knowledge would lead to our competitive advantage in the market. So solution to that is always having upskilling training programs, so that there is job enrichment and job rotation program initiated. Then also offering diverse training programs, doing a regular skill audit. Then skill matrix is being facilitated. You can also have a competency based mapping facility framework done for the organization on the skills, and then offering various career development opportunities.
So, okay, when these are for learning and development, the multiple opportunities required to be, or multiple action required to be taken. But where they, how the organization they can document it? What are the solution for that? What they must have to take care?
Okay. See, for compliance related thing, you'll have to comply with various rules and regulations.
Okay.
So that will become a different entity itself. Like some companies will have legal compliance officers who are taking care of HR compliance related risk. So it will regulate as per the industrial standards the different legal liabilities and functional penalties. So regular audit would have to be facilitated out, and violation to that, like overtime regulations or health and safety standards, has to be facilitated out. So first thing is everyone to know what is the rules and regulations they need to follow, and there is always continuous learning initiatives to be done, and providing proper compliance training to the management and to the employees.
So, as part of the compliances, when we consider about it is everywhere. So, compliances it is started from when an organization you have to hire, you have to be first get the approval from the organization. Then we when we consider as part of the human resources, so there the regulations are there. Then you have to comply with. If not compliant, so there are the potential risk for where the non-conformity. Then there are the many types of the cases may happen for the organization. So HR people must be aware about this, and they have to ensure the total roadmap they have to be create around these areas too. When we consider about there are the data management is also the ethical the ethics related into organization, then the learning and development are also the compliances we have been so far discussed. Then it is the most important part, which is especially not given the more advantage, more consideration by the organization. However, that is just in the thought by the senior thought leaders, where the workplace related the workplace, the safe workplace is there, you the vibrant workplace, then the productive workplace must be there. So in that, what are the potential workplaces or related risks are there, which organization have to ensure?
See, now every organization has started complying to that. So some organization have specific departments handling employee health and safety. So this would be the functional area. So work related risk can involve like accidents, injuries, hazards which will compromise to employee health and safety. So how we can look at it is like implementing safety protocols, providing proper training programs, and how we can maintain a safe work environment. So it has not become only the responsibility of the employer, but also the employee has to comply, because they go for easy way of handling things. A best examples I can give is when we are working on a shop floor, it is our responsibility as a person who is going to the shop floor to ensure we are using our PPE, personal protective equipments, like your headgear, then your ear pack for reducing the sound noise, your safety shoes. But we have the habit of not putting and flouting the rules and regulations and going. So examples of this risk will be like slips, trips or falls, which is leading to any injuries. Then exposure to any hazardous substances, which might cause health issues. Uh, and environment related health issues, you can have like few of the cases, like people who are working in asbestos or in a cement factory, they might lead to health issues like asbestosis or skin cancer or related things. So how are we governing to ensure safety measures are being taken care for them? So how we can do it is like conduct regular risk assessment, safety protocols has to be in place, safety audits has to be done, safety training programs has to be initiated. But end of the day, it is the employee who needs to comply with following with all the security measures, because prevention is better than cure, because if something has happened, we might lose a person or something or his life, but it's always better to follow protocols and comply with that.
Okay, definitely. So when it is called as in the risk into the workplace, and either it may be anywhere, whatever the area, it is the learning and development, it is your data management system, it is about your the ethics also, it is your compliances. So all together you have to be prepared. There is your before after, then you have to prepare some charts, you have to prepare the actionable ideas and the actionable activities, so that you can regularly map with what are the potential risks. First, the organization need to be identify them, second need to be create a roadmap, and third one now regularly has to be check it out. Either it is the whatever the industry would be there, but basically it would be depend on the operational part of any organization. Either just the example has been shared by the Edwin here. So that is about the hazard and the health related issue for the cement factories and the other chemical factories. But there are the different categories of the workplaces are there, so it must be according to that. You have to be the modify and identify your potential risk, and then prepare your corrective action and the preventive actions for them. So when we have been identifies the certain areas where the potentiality of the human resource risks are there. However, what are the potential remedies to identify the human resource risks?
See, in corporations, I'll give you best example is manufacturing sectors. They will have risk registers, wherein every risk has to be written out, or any near miss cases, everything has to be documented, because it becomes a mandate with ISO 9001 standards. But when you're looking at organizations having non-compliance to that, but we need to have a risk management. So potential remedies to identify HR risk is like we should conduct regular risk assessment, regular audits has to be done, both internal and external people are doing an audit, and then employee surveys can be initiated to understand the modularity, how the employees are feeling in the organization. And we can also have key performance indicators. So how are we monitoring to that? So example is like conducting regular risk assessment to identify potential HR risk. We are also need to take care of analyzing the employee feedback through surveys to detect emerging issues. Then monitoring turnover rates and absenteeism as indicators of potential HR risk. Like I can give more examples. Is like Kodak. There were people who looked at a scenario where instead of going for a normal physical print, we should also go for digital transformation and digital photo technology. But they didn't look into it, so they were nowhere. Another example I can give you is Nokia's example. As a mobile entity, it were a game changer, people. But now we don't know the different players. The new players like Motorola. Motorola is also not there in the market now. But the earlier players were like your Nokia and your Motorola. Another example I can give you in connecting both camera and the phone is camera industry never thought a mobile phone would be a risk for them. Now everybody has a normal phone and they capture photos and they can take it. So this is how we are looking at. So we need to have a risk assessment not from our own industry, but cross functional departmental analysis and cross industry impact analysis also has to be done. So solution to that is like establishing risk management committees, then risk litigation policies, or implementing proactive risk strategies. You can also have a RACI matrix where who is responsible, who needs to take the ownership, who just need to be informed, who would be the doer. And you can also comply with your PDCA cycle, plan, do, check, analysis, so that you have a control to understand where is the risk and how we can litigate it.
Yes, definitely. So when we say there are the especially the human resource related the potential remedies, how the HR professional can identify that we have been explored here. When it is come to now, we have been explored the multiple. Then the next coming to here that how the as in the HR professional we can create in the HR risk management plan or the sustainable potential model for the human resource risk related risk management.
Okay, so this would become part of, this would not be done by any person from the HR team, but it would be facilitated by a senior person from the HR team. So it takes care of the functionality of the strategic HR management. That's the first goal. Because the next to answer your question is the risk management plan is first thing is to identify HR risk, then look at assessment, impact assessment, then prioritizing risk, what would be the level of risk and how we can litigate it, and developing mitigation strategies, monitoring and reviewing. So stepwise, if we want to break it down, we will take like the step one is identify HR risk specific to the organization. That's the first step. So second step is assess the impact and the likelihood of each risk. Like each risk will have a risk matrix and a risk number criticality, like least risk which we can neglect, or risk which we need to address, or risk which would look at issues which will have impact on the operational part or the HR part or anything. And then the third one is prioritizing risk based on its severity and likelihood. Fourth one would be like developing mitigation strategies for high priority risks. Fifth one is implementing and communicating the risk management plan. Then the sixth one would be monitoring and reviewing the plan regularly to make adjustments as necessary, so that there is always scope for feedback and continuous improvement.
Okay, definitely. So when the organization had to create a plan according to their internal assessment they have been done. So the next it come to when the plan has been created, the certain area has been identified. What are the strategy they have to be introduced now? Where the ultimately the issue come to the organization, that is about when they implement their plans. So there is the next stage, then bringing it to the maturity level. That is one of the key part for the failure of any types of the strategies human resource being implemented into the organization. So now what in your potential, how the human resource the management leader or professional they can strengthen the human resource management skill as in the HR, because it is the most important for where you have to identify the potential risk, then you have to draw the roadmap for that, then your strategies to what outcome you are getting through, and then ultimately the next level is about how you are making them further to the maturity level, which is around if any of your strategies you have been implement that are drawing the right kind of result for the next 2 years, so it means that is the more sustainable, that is the you have reached to the level of maturity, and then after it is going for the sustainability. So now it is about what is in your opinion to strengthen these human resource management related skill, because it must be coming to the HR professional only when we consider as part of the human resources professional. So what they must to do, how they have to make themselves as more capable to analyze, identify the key the potential risk into their organization, so that they can draw the right kind of attention of their management about the potential the current and future risks.
Uh, Firstly, we'll have to define what is HR risk management. So it involves like identifying, accessing, and mitigating risk which are related to the HR itself in the organization. So in HR risk, you can segregate into compliance risk, so which will talk about legal and regulatory compliance. That is one part. Next part I can take it is like operational risk. That is about the talent acquisition, work force planning, then retention strategies and everything. Those are the operational related risk. Next is strategic risk, where it is alignment of HR practices with the organization's goal. If there is a misalignment, then strategically there's a failure for the organization sustenance. So next one is reputational risk, which is employee relations issue, ethical misconduct, and all those things. So these are few of the HR risk and the risk types. So when we're looking at a HR to develop in compliance with taking care of these four types of risk, it is a professional development. So it would involve like continuous learning, staying updated with industry trends and regulations, networking with peers, and having practical experience and hands-on projects and case studies. This is one way to look at it. So the next, our strategy towards it is like attending workshops, then different seminars and training programs on risk management as a whole, and then industry best practices. There are different um, research papers and white papers being shared by different organizations. The big four organizations will share it for different departments, different industries, and different functionalities in HR. So, staying updated with those best industrial practices and legal requirements. The next is networking with other HR professions to exchange knowledge and insight. So, both is like mentoring and reverse mentoring kind of association. And then practical experience comes when there are you are imbibing you into this small projects or risk management projects or initiatives to be part of it. When HR takes an ownership to be part of that, that is one of the best way to look at a practical knowledge gain. Another example I can give is keep following people managers. They have a strategy being planned how we can go about. See, there are different courses being put up from our organization itself. There are more than 30 courses. So I think risk is also risk management is also part of the course curriculum. So people can enroll in those initiatives. Then we have this kind of open platforms where people from different industries are giving their knowledge transfer. So this the best example is our own people managers, how they are looking at propagating a professional development for each of our HR fraternity.
Yeah, great. So this was about how especially the HR, human resources, they can identify the potential risk into their organization where we have been broadly make around. So that is number one, which is about the skill related risk, which is most important. If your skill is going to drain for organization, would be difficult for the organization to sustain the moreover over the organization and for the long run into organize. So there around 90% of the HR professionals senior level, they are moving or switching their the organization frequently due to there are the potentiality of the skills shortage, and that does not been identified and the precautionary action was not taken. So here with this discussion with the Mr. Edwin E. Joel, we have been identify what is important part for the human resources to identify the risk. So either it is number one, the skill related risk, which is the most important. Second, it is about the individual who are there. There are also the behavior issue. Sometimes who are the good employee, they leave the organization. But why they leave? They leave, you do not providing them proper learning opportunity, you does not providing them the growth opportunity, or either there are the behavior issue by the key managers, or it is the especially from their own colleagues too. So that may be also one of the question for the HR professional into organization, and who are the strategic for the organization as in the human resource. Third one, it is about the violation of the laws of intellectual properties. There the multiple documents. So that's why into the every organization their appointment letter there has been properly drawn the confidentiality mode. There are the intellectual property has been given to. There are the copyrights also that can also be breached. So that is also the in broad perspective. But in the downline we have to go for the multiple areas. Either it is started with the whole life cycle of your employee, when however there the merger and acquisition does not been happen into the 100 number of the organization, but in 10 to 20% of the organization who have the merger and acquisition, but there are the potentiality of the movement of the people, how you are retaining, how you are managing those people. And further, the next one, and which is the most important part, that is about the regulation and the compliances, which on the day-to-day basis regulatory you have to be regularize them. If you have been the further strategic plan, or you have the clear roadmaps of what are the potential risks maybe for the organization, that you can assure into organization and safeguard your valuable asset. So this is about the discussion. Now here are some community questions we can here just to get into. So however, there are around the 25 number of the people were there for the Zoom live, but we can see only 3 and 4 here. So first I would ask the question to the who are live into this community and other platform too. So do you have any question to Mr. Edwin related to the human resource risk management? If it's not there, so we have 5 and 6 community questions, and then we will also get the these answers too. Okay, so I saw that you can write into the chat also. If you don't want to open your screen, or you don't want to the voice question, you can write into the chat also. So we are here for the next 10 minutes to what is your workplace the queries related to the human resource related risk, potential risk, what would be, and what solutions you are looking for, and what action you require to take. So I think in the live there are no questions, but next we are going for the community question. So here some questions. The most important, however, there are everyone has been asked the question. We have to go with the 2 and 3 most important questions, and there are the number one question I am picking from the Vikas Jetli, and he is from Nuvoco. His question is especially to understand the HR risk which can seriously impact the organization. So, what are the key risks that which can seriously impact the organization? Kindly light the your expert eye on this question. So, what may be the possibility, the potential risk, and the risk that can be impact seriously the organization objectives?
See, like earlier also, I gave a point like there are four risks involved in the HR perspective. So compliance risk is all your legal related things. So HR has to take care. So legal risk is like all your compliances with regard to your payments of wages, your statutory bonus, your PF, ESIC, your factories act requirement, your shops and establishment, then your occupational health and safety. So those all will come under your compliance related risks. So there's about compliance. Now, when you look at HR in perspective of operational risk, you need to look at talent acquisition, talent retention, the work manpower planning. How are those things being taken care? So if you don't have a proper resource or anything into the organization, there is a potential risk for the organization for business continuity. Example I can give is if you have projects undertaken by different organizations requirement, like you are an IT company and you don't have any resource working on a special project, then there's a business loss to that because you don't have a specific person working in that domain, and you're not able to give in to your client requirements. So that's kind of an operational risk. Strategical risk is organization per se will have their short-term and long-term goals being initiated out. So if the HR practices are not aligning with that, then it becomes as a strategical risk. Then reputational risk is if the company is not having a good employee branding or employee value proposition, all those things, then there's a reputational risk or a misconduct risk and everything. Another example I can give is like where our host has also told us during merger and acquisition, the first person usually to be fired out is the HR and the finance team because they know in and out what is the organization into. So the HR and the finance team can make or break the association. So usually they are the first people when they are asked to leave during a merger and acquisition, unless and until it depends on the company's foresight. And I can give you another example is when there are two organizations going for a merger and acquisition. For example, if one company is based out of Germany or Japan, they are very tech savvy people. So they would believe in all those technology, process, and everything. And when you're looking at America, the country is more into workforce is proper, but they're not. They might skip the proper procedures or anything. So there's already a cultural difference between the two organization. A Japan-based organization taken over by a US organization. So there's a cultural misfit. So those reputational risk and strategical risk also needs to be aligned out. I think I could bring in some perspectives to your question.
So the next question is here from the Vinay Patil, and Vinay Patil from Mozo Bank. He has been asked the question about what are the areas that are the most risk prone to the organization and how to mitigate as
It,
an
it is
yeah.
very open statement. Every area is a risk depending on the situation. Our host had shared one PPT slide which had different modularities, HR functionalities. If you look at the employee life cycle itself, there's a high risk from candidate experience, candidate onboarding, then conversion into employee, then employee benefits administration, the ethical concerns to that, talent acquisition, talent retention, your performance management system, your data confidentiality, data breach, or invention agreements, or then non-compete agreements, NDAs. There's a risk at every level. You need to understand what kind of risk are you looking at, because not every risk is a risk. It depends on the severity of the risk. Can we it's like how you strategize your work for the day. What needs to be done at this juncture, what can be postponed, what can be addressed a little later. So accordingly all the risk will have its severity. You need to address those risks, but have an assessment saying what all risks you might find it like a non-severe risk, but it might become a bigger risk over a period of time. So look at all the risk and address how you can have a strategy to address those risks and litigate those risks, and the severity of those risks are reduced.
Definitely. So these are the questions which has been asked by the some of the participants who has been enrolled for this today's live session. And so it is now the 9:59. Is there any question from the live participants? So I think there are no questions on the different the platforms also. So now it is as we have been concluded with the every area, whatever into your whole life cycle, as in the organization or employee life cycle. So that is prone with the potential risk, but it is based on your strategy, your alignment with the organizational goal, and especially the regulations, which is the most important part for the organization. If you are breaching the regulation, so first it come about you are welcoming the potential risk for the organization. Then after, there are the many areas which is especially related to your employee. When you are recruiting, that is depending on if you are recruiting with the system, you have the strategy, you have your own the value proposition for your organization, so you may not further face any issue related to that the it is the wrong hire, it is not a right people, so the organization does not have to kick out them. Secondly, you must have to full potential or the full proof plan you have to create, which is called as in the career path. When you are hiring someone, if it is not identified rightly into the proper place. So it is also the next role of the human resource professional, the strategy designer. There you must have create the career path and plan for organization. Before that you must have a proper the job function, which is known as the, not especially I'm talking here about the JD. You are preparing 5 lines of the JDs are there. It is about knowing your business. So that's why it is most important for the HR to be know about the business acumen. It means when HR you have to lead as in the human resource professional, as moving or going growing to the boardroom. So it is most important for you not just go to the policy. It is about you have to go deep into your businesses, your the potential, your employer business. So that's why when you are going to understanding your business from the every perspective, so that you can align your people functions. So as part of that, where we are possibly moving into the next stage, so that is going to be the different perspectives so far now. So as we have been reached to the 10, so however whatever the community questions has been reached to us, so we have been all explored. Further, there are the other area which we have been explored. Ultimately, the conclusion it would be come to here when we go for the HR risk management. So every area into human resources, which is started from identifying of your potential talent till the exit of your employee, every state there are the risks too. If it is not from the beginning stage you have been properly identified, you have been not properly aligned it, you have not properly have the path designing for identifying, and especially the action you have not been taken, so it would not be the great the place for the HR to be grow into your field. So now I here finally want the final words from Mr. Edwin Joel about the human resource management risks, and what is your final eyesight on the human resource potential risk and how human resource professionals can take it further to really make it as an advantage for them.
See, our topic for today is HR risk management. So HR itself
Yes.
means a human resource. We need to understand, do we want to make that as human resource or human risk? Because both the abbreviations is from HR only. Do you want to take it as a human resource or a human risk? So then what we discussed was about the different types of we defined about HR risk. Then what are the different few types of risk types which we defined, and then after that I think summary would be like how we do the current state of assessment, then defining the objectives, strategic roadmap to litigate risk litigation initiatives. How is HR capacity building is being done towards his training is done towards the risk management. How are we using technology to litigate this risk? Then holistic risk management. We should not do a quick fix. Short term risk assessment should not be done, but we should do root cause analysis so that the risk is identified and not nurtured but cut down at its bud itself. Then monitoring the progress with risk focused matrices, and then risk awareness trainings and engagement activities has to be done. Then we need to also celebrate the small milestones which we incorporate so that it is a learning and people take joy in facilitating that, more than making it as a practice so it becomes as a easy for everyone to follow every day. And then always look at continuous improvement practices. So this would be few steps where the HR can transform from HR risk in, but not into an HR risk, but into a center of excellence.
Thank you, Mr. Edwin Joel, giving your time for today. So, all the participants who are on live and secondly on the other platform, we will share the details and the LinkedIn profile of Mr. Edwin Joel, so people can directly connect to you, get the great insights from you, and learn from you. so that we can create the most appropriate aligned community for our the vision 2020-40 by the 100 million HR professional globally. So this is all about this session today. So the potential HR risk, how to identify, what would be the solution we have been discussed, and the further potentially how you have to take care. There, ultimately, what I can hear summit that is about the in human resources. When we talk about the human resources, as Mr. Edwin has said, so that is the human resources and the risk. Everywhere it is involved. Now it is your the strategic planning, how you can identify these potential risk beforehand. It can become the tragedy for you, the organization. Either it is there at the beginning. I have been shared one the issue of one of the organization where HR people are related to the compensation when the salaries was taken under fraud of around the 23 lakh rupees was charged into the wrong accounts by HR professional. So that are also the organization side. The other part, as in the HR, you have to prepare, you can guide your management. HR is the guide for human resources, the employee, as well as the your organization management also, so that you are creating the bridge. So that's why we are also moving into, as part of the radar system, the new mentoring program soon, and that is focusing as in the helping hand of HR, where especially empowering the employee into organization and advising the management of the organization. This is all about. So thank you so much everyone for joining this into the Zoom and other platforms. So further into the Wednesday, we are also coming with one of the another session where we have been invited one of the top director of one of the institution into the learning and development. So Wednesday, and so we will release maybe by tomorrow the detail of who would be the next speaker for this HR leader talk show, and she is one of the renowned learning and development facility faculty into the our country. And so we are declaring it tomorrow on the social media, and all who are the community members, we are sharing it with them so that you can connect. So that is going to be one of the curative session for the L&D especially. So thank you so much, Mr. Edwin, giving me your time, and then other member who has been joined. There is Singita Naidu, Dr. Nepal Singh, and who are live at the end here. And here on the different platform around into the YouTube, there are around the 7 members who are live so far. And in LinkedIn, there are around 15 members live for this today's session. So thank you so much, everyone, and good night. Have a great time. And tomorrow, join your office with the positive minds. And always think more about how you can empower yourself. When you empower yourself, then you would lift others also. So that's why here we have been created one theme for the HR Reward 2024, that is about lifting other. You will lift yourself, and we as the people manager provide you the platform to reach to the globe, and also helping you to grow into your career. Thank you so much everyone, and good night. See you everyone on the Wednesday session also with the
Yes.
Dr. Rajeshwari Narendran. So maybe many of you may know also or not. Tomorrow we are releasing it on the our social community as well as the other the people manager community, so that you can find out. And Wednesday definitely you can get the great insight on the what are the learning and development paradigm changing